Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Clutch Crypto. You're with Trading Bros and Coffee this morning, and we ranged.
And I'm Baby Wellington.
And this is
Come
B
on, you got it.
Wellington. This is B
Come on now.
Wellington. We called the market yesterday, pretty much to a T. Let's see if we can do it again. So let's dive into the charts and see what we got.
So I won't spend too much time on the daily because we always spend time on the daily and it doesn't change except for daily. Get it?
Uh,
Yeah, ha ha ha. So here we are. We are stuck on this line, folks. This line has been here since around this area. We come back and pinned it damn near perfectly. As you can see, we still have some vectors here to the downside, and we do have some imbalances. This box isn't going anywhere. I think we are headed in that direction eventually. How fast we get there will depend on kind of the liquidity in the market and, what these longs and shorts are doing, and then any other type of, news that we're getting from the traditional financial markets. So the daily, we're just pinned on this trend line. You would expect a lot of buying on this trend line since we're at the bottom of this channel. And as you see, we've had two green days, even though this green day that we're in currently is inside of this last candle. What I would anticipate is we explore this area here eventually, just because of all the things that are happening in the market. But as you can see, we just opened the futures and looks like we are moving down slightly. But again, we've been ranging. This has really been pretty much a pretty boring market, to be honest with you. But that's what they try to do, is they try to lull you to sleep before they make their moves. And so we should expect some volatility after a long session of ranging. Here we are in the hourly. What we have here is we are then pegged here. So we have a lot of confluence. We have this trend line. We have the 50 on the 1 hour. The daily is above us, but we are above the psychological high.
we got a new lower low too.
Right.
With
And
that
so,
wick.
right. And so what, we anticipate, I would look, if we got, depending on where we went. So yesterday was an up day, right? So we've kind of trended up from the U.S. Brinks from yesterday. Well, actually, if we really want to look at it, U.S. Brinks, we dropped. We recovered Sydney. We've been trailing down into this to the 50 here. The EU kind of had a little bit of a response, but really the range has tightened immensely. So I would expect some volatility here coming soon. And we do have a lot of news that's coming out today, which we'll take a look at. But what I like is when we get into these highs. So we have a peak here with Sydney, right? So if we come up here, we could bust through this peak and come back. That would be a trap, indicate a trap, in my opinion, which would then come back to the daily. Or if we get down to yesterday's low, I would be looking for some activity there as well, because as we know, there's probably liquidity sitting at both of these areas, one at 27.74, the other at 28.85. So we have a really tight range that we kind of are dealing with when we look at yesterday's high and low. So again, we should expect some volatility here pretty soon. If we go even further down into the time frames, as we can see, we're here and we're ranging, and that range is starting to get tight. And so, let's expect some volatility one way or the other. The first hour and a half always tells us the most about the market moving into it. So, at this point, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. But, based upon we had a down move, we had an up move yesterday. So the down move, if that was a false move, then we should see somewhat of a pump today. I mean, we are above where we were at yesterday, but that's only because Sydney produced that. And so if we go and look at things like funding rates, which we like to look at as a sentiment, let me refresh. We're pretty much positive across the
I'm
board,
going short.
which would indicate there's a positive to neutral sentiment that's going on. So people think that the price, people are placing their bets, placing their trades, are more weighted to the long side. Based upon this, And then if we look at, this is something I was looking at earlier on the hour, coin margin future contracts and stable coin, this is CVD, has been decreasing, which means that there's liquidity that's coming out of the market in the form of leverage. And then we also have spot, which is essentially holding up the market. And that spot's been increasing. This is actually on Binance. If we go back and look at things like exo charts, we're down here in this range. This is an accumulation of from March to May. I didn't think I did it that much, but this is a large grouping of sessions. And so we're down here in this area. We've got POC up here, this 3033. But again, this is almost a month's worth of data. So if we expand that piece of it, that POC changes throughout. But here's where we're at on that end, with POC being up in this area. Looking at net longs and net shorts, we're pretty much, if we look at over a period of time, we're pretty much flat, but we do have a lot of shorts that are coming in. We've got a lot of new longs that are building as well, which is that positive 2.2 million that's out there. If we look at traditional markets, which should have just opened on the future side, NASDAQ, of course, it's early, but we're flat. Pretty much across the board, a little bit of a drawdown here in the NASDAQ. BTC is basically holding flat. And then you see the headlines, Russia's still in the headlines. So we'll see. We've got earnings coming out. We can check to see which earnings come out a little bit later. But if we look at, the reports that are supposed to come out, we've got openings. I just refreshed it. So apparently, see, these are at 10 a.m. Sorry, I thought it was at 8:30. So these are at 10 a.m. where we got jobs, quits, factory orders, core. So motor vehicle sales. So motor vehicle sales, job openings, and quits are probably going to be the best indicators. Then we have the ADP employment report coming out tomorrow. Trade balance, which you expect that to continue to increase. FOMC statement coming at 2:00, so it'll give you an idea of what the next, projected.
Oh, tomorrow's big day, 2:30.
Yeah, so tomorrow's a big day. So depending on what we do today, that'll actually probably set us up for, the opening in tomorrow. So we may be ranging just to, follow the market, because I think the market's probably going to be pretty rangy, pretty stable, pretty non-interesting until 2:00.
You think it's going to be a quarter or a 0.5%?
I think it's going to be a 0.5%, to be honest with you, because I think they're going to want to really show the aggressiveness, because really the market hasn't. I say it hasn't. We did have some drops last week. They were pretty substantial, but the market needs to respond in kind to the FOMC, and so it's my thought process that they're probably going to be fairly aggressive relative to making sure that the market tapers itself. Kind of as we move forward. So I expect probably a more aggressive move. If it's not aggressive, then I think market's going to respond positively to that, and that's not going to do anything to help inflation. So, so that's where we're at on that. So that's really all I got, at this point. So I'll let you hit into the high block and into Bookmap.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see.
Man, I'm really impressed with how well this has been working in the last 2 days.
Hey man, we got to figure it out.
Yeah, so this is High Block Capital, what we look at every day. As you can see, we're about flatline here on the liquidation level delta, which is an indicator that we might be moving up slightly. But as we've been noticing in the last couple of weeks, we've been having a long periods of the red downturn with only short periods of the green upside. As you can see though, we have a gap here. This is 28.74. Really down to about 28.18. That's pretty open, and we need to go in and get this field. Lots of longs right here started taking place down in the 27.81 area. So I would anticipate that they work this range a little bit to fill this gap. where they go from here. It's really the same story that we talked about yesterday because we didn't get up to this 29.35 area that we spoke about. That's a big liquidation that's still left out there on the table. And then if they get a little bit higher to 29.77, we get above 29.77, folks, pay real close attention. We're either going to have a nice move to the upside, or it'll be a trap, just like B. Wellington was talking about a little earlier, to trap some more long. So be very cautious around 29.77. Pay attention to what's happening there. If you have order book or book map or anything like that, pay attention to where those orders are and the volumes that are coming in those key areas, and see what happens when we get to those points. Low points we need to pay attention to, 27.27. We got another nice little long liquidation down there. Pay attention. That's also going to be a new lower low. And if you look at the graph on the smaller time frames where we're at, we're starting to have lower lows starting to form now. So pay attention to that area too. And see what happens when we get into that range. Book map. As you can see, let me let this load up real quick. Okay, book map. As you can see, we came up and now we are working on flipping again. This indication is some downside momentum. As you can see, if this guy keeps coming up, we'll keep coming down. As you can see right now on the order books, we are heavily weighted to the downside. We got around 28.10 to pay attention to, as long as we don't have any market orders pop up in between now and then. And we want to pay attention to what happens when we get in this range. We have about roughly 1,000 clustered orders in this range. And then let me scroll out here just a little bit. I would say that and then we don't have anything really big then after that until we get down to 2,700. This is also a key area that we were kind of paying close attention to yesterday. Session volume profile kind of ends right down here at 2720. So if we're going to basically break into a new level, we need to break that 2,700 area and continue down. If not, I would expect a bounce probably around 2720 right now. That's the range we're working in the area that we're currently in. So you got 2720 all the way up to about 3,000. This is the session volume that we're working in right now. And as you can see, we're in a heavily crowded area right here as far as orders go. So I definitely agree with B. Wellington. We should probably see some pretty substantial movements here, probably in the near term. I'm guessing in the next couple of days. So we'll be moving out of this range, whether it's to the upside or downside. Right now, everything's favoring to the downside, but we got some big news coming out tomorrow. And again, we got some key ranges that we really want to pay attention to. So let's keep an eye on those and what happens when we get there. So that way, you guys are able to make some good calls. So that's all I have today as well. We wish everyone a happy Tuesday. And do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, the only things that I'll add are, we talked about earnings. So this is earnings season. So if we look at the earnings that are coming out today, we're going to have AMD, that Advanced Micro Devices, which, we'll see because, they've been under some supply constraints, but, a lot of these miners have been using AMD chips. So we could get some positive news there. Pfizer, of course, with some of the vaccine work, I think will be positive news. And then tomorrow, well, not even tomorrow, but Thursday, Shopify and Square will be announcing. And so e-commerce and, some other indicators of economic, where we are economically. So we got some big names that are coming up. They're going to be announcing earnings that can also drive markets. I'll be interested to see what that advanced micro device looks like since, being in the crypto space. But that's all I got, on my end. Looks pretty, looks pretty like we're going to the downside in the near term. But we'll see how trappy it gets. And, we can go from there.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll probably be a little late, so about 8:30 Central Standard Time. Until next time,
Hey, I was on time this
AMF.
morning.
You were, you
Audio
were.
like this. I
I
know
was
I
late
was.
on. AMF, everyone.